Hello, my name is Brittany Mitchell, and I have been on the craziest journey of my life, honestly. What haven't I done? There's a lot I haven't done, okay? But to start, I would call this My Journey to God, Part 1. And I'm going to do a series of I don't know how many videos, as many as it takes, and I'll do 10-minute segments, and I'll talk about how God has brought me to where I am. And once you really walk with God, you realize how naked you are, and you realize that everybody is God. And if everybody is God, then God already knows. And if God already knows, why am I telling? I'm telling because God told me to. And that's kind of been that's the amazing part. The whole time you think you're walking alone, you've been walking with God, and you may just not have been listening. So, part 1. My life is full of experiences, and they'll pop up, but I really don't consider my conscious journey towards God to have taken place sooner than 2005, summer 2005. And summer 2005, I had just gotten back from Orlando, Florida. I went to Full Sail Real World Education, where I got my associates in computer animation. And that was fun. That program was really challenging. But after I finished there, I had no connection with what Florida had to offer me. Florida was sunny, it was nice, but it was hot, and there were hurricanes, and I'm a Michigander, and that just didn't sit well in my spirit. So I went ahead and came back to Flint. My grandma had supposedly been experiencing some mental fluff that was causing her to end up in the early hospital on the 3rd floor, and she wasn't doing well, and I felt inclined to come home. I love my grandma. My mom was down in Florida with me, and I knew she would be most likely coming home soon, but things were going really good for her down there in Florida, and I was so happy for her. And so I came home, and I went and saw my grandma, and as much as she seemed normal, she did seem different, but she did seem cognizant. So it was weird, God's she's very close to God, and to see her in that space was disheartening. It was very different. And as I look back on it, I feel like I've gone through the 3rd ward of Hurley's Hospital just over the last couple days. Because you go, I feel like you go insane, but there's something to the insanity that's so true. I don't know. Anyway, so that took place. And then after that took place, I started working. I stayed with my father, which was a first. My mom has always been my caregiver since I was born. And when my mom and my dad divorced and my mom moved out, when we got our own place, it was me, my brother, and my mom. It's always been me, my brother, and my mom, or me and my mom. And for a lot of years, it had been me and my mom. My brother just, he had gotten into some trouble, so he wasn't around. But it was me and my mom. And so when we went to Florida, it was me and my mom. And coming back, it was me and my dad. Yeah, that was different. It's awesome to look back and see how God works, but it was crazy in the moment. So in the moment, it was a lot for him to get used to and a lot for me to get used to. I'm in general a really nice, upbeat person. Like I can take a lot on the chin, and I forgive very easily and things like that. So it's yeah. And so had a cool job. I was doing pet photography. It was long hours, you know, driving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. A lot of isolation, a lot of time alone. A lot of isolation, a lot of time alone. A lot of talking, quote unquote, to myself. I even got my stuffed animals. You guys can see I love Stitch. So, Stitch would drive on the expressway with me. I have a stuffed animal of him. Looking around just to see if I can find it, but you know, driving with me on the expressway, and I would share and I would just talk out loud, and you know, there would be responses, but I really felt like I was talking to myself for a lot, and then I would feel like I was talking directly with God, because I would take the time to talk directly with God and just have him share revelations and motivations. Oh God, because you just need motivations when you're out there on the road alone and there's traffic, and you know, there's nothing good on the radio, and I came back to Flint, you know, for my grandmother's sake, and then I came back to Flint because I was in love, you guys. I was in love. I thought I was in love. Oh boy, did I think I was in love. And I was going to save up all this money, and I was going to run off to Atlanta. And I was saving money to move to Atlanta and for my future with this man, Prentice Brown III. I'm just gonna put him all on blast. And gosh, I had loved him, and then I had to tell him I had done him wrong last we were together. I had done him wrong, and I can't even think of the man's name. I think it was Drew. I cheated on him with some guy named Drew. That's how naked I am. I don't even care. Hey Drew, if you watch this, I ain't seen you in forever. How are you? Hope life's great. But yeah, and so I had told him, I confessed, and he gave me a hard time about it, but he still stuck with me. And it's gonna be crazy how it comes full circle, guys, because the concept of cheating took to a whole nother level. That's all I'm saying. And then brought full circle to a level of understanding. Okay, so let me at least get you guys to the end of 2005 with this video. Okay, so I'm going back and forth to work and trying to make a life for me and this man who's millions of miles away, and my future kids and myself, you know, pay off my debt, get prepared for school loans and all of that. And I meet back up with my girl Shay Cobb, and Shay Cobb is an interesting character. Yeah, this is going on YouTube. I'm really just getting naked right now. She's an interesting character. She's always been a good friend of mine, but someone who I've kept close and far at the same time. But it was nice to come back home and have her embrace me and welcome me in. And she had, you know, a man in her life, and they were destined to be married by God. And that was beautiful. I was conflicted. I'm like, where you come from? I don't know you. You feel me? And I know, you know, where her motivations and things were previously. So it's like, who are you? But I gave him a hard time, as I should have. And Shay linked me back up with another old friend, Benjamin Johnson. Benjamin. And Benjamin was a world of knowledge and information. And I had been seeking God through traveling up and down the expressway, and you know, the morning sermons that come on BET, and I had even been going to church, and I had got baptized and had a heck of an experience over at South Flint, the South Flint church. I'm just gonna tell it like it is, the way God tells me to tell it, and God tells me to tell it in a naked fashion, and the nakedest fashion is that was some crazy energy over there at that church. Like, I was like, service turned into prayer turned into speaking in tongues that I honestly did not do that well. Okay, I'll tell you. Speaking in semi-tongues turned into baptism turned into the biggest hair gel mess ever. I'm just saying. And then it just felt weird, because after I had spoken tongues and I was crying because I had all of this loneliness in me, they shoved a clipboard in my face and told me it was time to get baptized and join the church. I said, whoa, does it happen all that fast? You mean on one hand God moves in mysterious ways, but on the other hand it felt very disgenuine to have God shove a clipboard in my face, and it wasn't God, it was some lady. So that's what that was. We're not going to make it to the end of 2005. There is just too much that happens. But that is my journey to God, part 1. I appreciate you listening. I really appreciate sharing, and we'll see where this goes.